Hey people, this is a Broken Puppet. Welcome to Brokenpuppet Tattoo. Today I'm teaching you how to draw an old school hand. Now I know a few people have trouble with this, I've had a lot of emails, and that's so yeah, I'll talk you through it. It's a real simple formula, and I think I know what people are mostly getting wrong. But yeah, I'll talk you through that. Subscribe below for tattoos, check the description, all the details are in there. I'll see you next time. Right people, how do you draw an old school hand? Now, I know a lot of people struggle with their hands, and I think the problem is most people always tend to draw the fingers first. Trick is, what I find anyway, is to do the palm first. Now the easiest way to do the palm is to remember that it isn't square. Now if you're drawing like, generally at an angle, because no one draws like this, everyone always draws at some sort of angle. This part is not square. If you see, line comes up here, down, across, and curves. So it's a box shape, but this line here is much longer than this bit is. So I'll show you what we're going to do. And do your lines curved here, don't do them straight. So you can do a small curved line there, a longer curved line coming that way, a longer line coming this part, and then a shorter line here. So this line and this line both longer. Now from here we're going to sketch in like the line for some of the fingers. Now if you're doing a man's, you can do 4 circles here for the knuckles. The women, you generally won't see too much of a knuckle. I generally find just the knuckle that makes the hand masculine. So start off with a basic line just there and slowly curve these lines out, because it's going to be in this kind of position where the finger's going to go behind him. And slowly make that one a bit longer, a bit more curved in. That one just a bit more curved in. And this one about the same length as this one, and just a touch bit more curved in just there. Then what you're going to do is just make another line, just curving this just one behind there, and behind there. So you see you're just angling them, but then progressively getting a bit longer each time. Now this one, I'm going to bend up quite high. And now because this one's going to be like a female hand, make the tip quite pointy. If you want to make it a man's hand, make it more round. Just going to curve it back like that. So you basically just bring that curve down the exact same way you put a line, but just coming out a bit more, so it's kind of banana shaped. Again with this, to this point, and come to there. And now for the thumb, you're going to bring your line up from this corner, come that wide, and once you're roughly where this line would have touched it, is where you want to curve it in for the thumb shape. So you curve in, make your thumb the same way you've done this kind of finger, bend it back to there, and bend it back there. Make sure it goes lower than that line. You don't want this joining up on the same line, otherwise it just doesn't seem to make sense. And when you get to the wrist, I like to turn my wrist a little bit, so I'm going to have this one kind of curving out a bit. So we're going to keep that curve and make sure this bit here is quite bendy. I don't want it going dead straight. Just personal preference, but yeah, that's how I generally do it. Now here I'm just going to have, you can have anything in here, I'm just going to do a quick little rose, basic old school one. Just like you've seen on some of my tutorials before, really, really simple. I'll sketch in the detail afterwards with a pen so you can see everything as I go along. I'm going to do 2 lines here. This isn't doing a hand, this is just going to be old school decoration that you'll see in a bit. Just plotting out in my head where I'm going to put everything. Right, so I'm going to get a pen now. So you see I'm going to bring this line here. So you see when we got there we curved it, so it curved outwards. When it joins up on this bit, I'm going to curve up. And now where this line is, I'm going to make a tiny little bit of a knuckle, so a tiniest little bend there, and then curve the other way and curve into it. Tiniest little bend up into it, and again there. And now that line I'm going to bring down, but we're not going to bring it the whole way. Bring it down about halfway through the thumb. Bring that up. it's going to curve that off at the bottom. So there you got, see, you got a basic hand shape. You can have the fingers carry on through, like you might see a trail of them, like see here. If you imagine carrying this through there, making that shape through there. The little finger you won't see too much of because it's shorter. But in the background here, if you want, you can have the trace of the other fingers. Basic little stem, little thorns, real basic rose. You can do something a bit more adventurous here. This is literally just to quickly just put something in the hand. You could do like a Dear John letter, you know, anything. Anything that's about kind of, well, size so you can pretty much hold it in your hand. If you don't know what to draw, you know, just think, what would you hold in your hand? You know, what would you hold up and look at? So I'm just really quickly putting these in. You know, normally I would take my time and do a bit more detailed, but yeah, this one just quickly just to get an idea, so you got a rough idea that same goes in the hand. Yeah, not my best rose, but you know, you get the idea. Now the bottom hand, I always like to put some kind of decoration down this bottom bit. You know, a bit of jewellery sometimes works well, but then sometimes some kind of feathery comes off the bottom. So I'm just going to do a real simple curving pattern. Literally just long semicircles, just slowly rotating around the hand, just like that. You know, we can put like jewellery and we can do simple, just do a circle, keep linking circles off the edge. Until you basically on the other side of the hand. Same with that side. You know, pretty much anything, you know, on the bottom, you know, whichever you want. Now the inside of the hand, right, let me just quickly cover the outline. Now you know me, I always like to pick up my outline just around the edge. You know, if I was doing this really detailed, you know, I would actually probably do two, or probably do 3 different line weights. Bold outline, your basic line weight like this, and then like really small detail ones. Now the small detail one I'll probably do in the tattoo, which I'm going to show in a second. I'm going to do like a tattoo on the hand. It's just one of the things that just always generally looks pretty good. Now this thing in the background I'm going to black out. You know, I quite like blacking out the back ones. Yeah, and just quickly around the leaf maybe. Petal. Yeah, see, I'm not going too crazy here, literally I'm just plotting in basic bits. Now done that, I'm going to put some shading, and then I'm going to show you how to add the tattoo. The tattoo is going to be a really basic kind of rose one. I'm going to rub all the lines out except for those 2 on the outside, which are going to be a bit of decoration, which I'll show you. Just a really simple old school, and you can just add, it always looks pretty cool. Now the trick here is just to break up the different sections. So start there, make like a little kind of, you know, knuckle bit halfway through the finger. Flip down. Do that on each one of your fingers. And that just clearly shows that there's a bend there, which is exactly what you want. Now you can add fingernails if you want, you know, it's not always necessary with these old school designs. You know, I tend to be honest, I tend not to put a fingernail in. Not with something like this, I wouldn't. Then just create a bit of knuckle shape here if you want. This is a detail you don't necessarily have to have, you know. A lot of old school traditional ones won't have too much shading. But I like to just clearly show the difference in the bends. going to have this flick up so it's got like a mid kind of tone in the middle. You can just bulk this out all the same if you want. I like to create like a little highlight sometimes. Just something I like to do. And that's it pretty much for the shading of the hand. I mean, you can add extra details and want, you know, like a bit crazier shadows. Like you can create like a really dark one just off the inside of it here if you want. Curve up, over the finger, shadow. Over there. The inside bit, you know, you can create them extra places, but to be honest, I find less is more, to be honest, with this old school hand style. Yeah, and now I'm just going to do like a rose on the hands. You can do the same kind of old school type here if you want, or you can do something different. You could do an anchor, you know, just about anything, you know, dagger, you know, anything that looks pretty cool. But the easiest way generally is just, you know, a cool looking rose. So like you see in my other tutorials, I'm just going to sketch in a rose. You know, I've got a bunch of rose tutorials, you know, so you can easily just click on one of them and that'll take you to a really in-depth tutorial on how to do these. But it's just generally nice kind of curved shapes, a few overlaps, and then just have it all join up together. Once you've done a couple of roses and you know you feel like you've done really good, you'll generally have it down and you know you've had to just make up roses after that. It's one of those ones where practice just is the key, and eventually you'll just figure out a cool style. Just stick at it, but I guarantee once you've done sort of like 10-20 roses, you'll have mastered them. So it's just a basic one. A few little line details. And when you're doing these kind of tattoos, I recommend you don't colour them in. Now if you want to add colour with the tattoo, I recommend you do it actually with the lines, like, you know, doing them in blue or something. No, I don't know why, you know, doing them as a real tattoo, full colour, just sometimes doesn't really work with the old school one, which is really kind of weird for me. You know, you're the sort of thing you think would work, but it just doesn't seem to. I'm sure there has been a few people who managed to do it pretty well, but I just generally find it doesn't work for me. But something like a blue outline or a full dark purple or something just looks really different, because it's just something you wouldn't tattoo with. Like, you wouldn't tattoo it like that, but it just looks really cool in a drawing. So yeah, so just play around with the colour you do your outline. Now you'll see what I mean when you do it. Just underneath there. So you've just got a basic rose, you know, you can put some lettering on the finger if you want. You know, I would tend to do the lettering upside down so it's readable on the drawing. You know, like if the hand's running the other way, I'd have it the way you normally would. See, like mine, you know, it's readable that way. But obviously this way it isn't readable because it's upside down. But I would say have, I don't know, just a nice 4-letter word. You know, that's only basic. I literally just on the spot. You know, I would tend to do something maybe a bit better than that, but yeah, you get the idea. Oh yeah, almost forgot. So just create a nice strong line with the Sharpie that isn't running out. And just real simple, you know, you just basically want to make loops. Just going up the whole thing. Slowly getting slightly smaller towards the top. To one on the top. I try to keep them uneven. No, you can do them the same width. I just always done mine uneven lengths, which I think looks pretty cool. So it's literally just this kind of curve shape, just repeated all the way to the top one way, and you just do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, there's really nothing to it, but it's just a really cool little thing you can just add. It just creates a little bit of background. Story bits. Yeah, you know, you get the idea. And where's my white's gone? No, you don't necessarily generally need white in it, but you know me, I tend to put a bit of white in everything I do, just to clearly show where the highlight areas are. I like to go just on the finger there, just a bit roughly around there. Just adds a bit of curve to it. Tiny little bit from the knuckle there. Now you generally find, you know, I tend to do my highlights on hands with it in the fingers rather than like on the edge, so like say here. Now what you can do, which does look okay, but I tend not to do on the edge when it comes to fingers. Well, not in this type of design anyway. You know, it does look good, it's just not something I tend to do. A little highlight in each bit of jewellery. Each one has little bubbles. Just makes them seem a little bit more. Not crazy, but yeah, you get the idea. That is how to draw a hand. I hope that helps. And now remember, it's that basic kind of box shape, but uneven box shape, and just draw your fingers off of it. So start with the centre of the hand, work into the fingers. And a broken puppet, I hope it helps. Check out my other tutorials, subscribe, like, comment, yada yada yada, you know, usual. And I'll see you next time. Peace out.